Hey, hey.
You're probably wondering to yourself, where's Jenn Maher? And she's not here. Jenn is on dealing with personal business, and we wish her and her family well, and she'll be back next week, probably with some good stories to tell.
I hope so. She just spent a week on vacation, doing more personal things. It's good.
Yeah, well,
she's getting back to business and has things to take care of. So I jumped right in, just out of pure enjoyment, because I found a video, which I shared with you this morning, that might paint a interesting picture. Oh, by the way, my name is Tim Judge. I'm affiliated with J. Phillip Real Estate as of last year, and have been in business maybe just a touch longer than J. Phillip himself.
And you are the producer of this program.
Oh yeah, behind the scenes every week.
You're the video guy.
Keep pushing the buttons.
You're coming out from behind the curtain to share your knowledge.
Yes, happy to do so.
Yeah.
So Phil and I go way back, as you might have seen from the thumbnail picture. That's probably a 10 or 12-year-old picture of Phil and myself. We've been friends and colleagues for a dozen or more years, and finally hitched the wagons together. But anyway, the video itself, which I'm constantly working on video marketing stuff and talking about this. There's a guy out there called Patrick Bet-David, who's a big marketer, influencer, whatever you want to call him, on YouTube, has 3 million followers or something like that. So he's got a lot of people watching and talking about him. And his video was the unscripted rule code between realtors. And it starts off like I think everyone would believe, that realtors are just out to make a deal and collect a commission, and that's all it is. And he kind of rides that line just a little bit closely, but then he turns it around on how to make your realtor work the best for you. I'll show a couple clips, but you did get to watch it, Phil. What were your thoughts on it?
I may have written a comment in the bottom there,
right.
But I would say you probably agree with the guy in the video more than I do, and that's good for a healthy broadcast. But I think he's overstating the case. I'm sure, like anything else, I'm sure there are less than ethical agents out there who collude at their client's expense. And when it all comes out in the laundry, a lot of them end up being ex-agents. So I disagreed with him overall, at least on the pervasiveness on the practice.
I think the way he paints the picture in the beginning is a lot like saying, oh, to take a breath, you just breathe in and breathe out. It's that simple, and that's what happens. And it's not at all like that. So he paints the picture of your realtor's out to make a deal. They don't really care about you. They look at you as a one-off, maybe one deal, maybe 2 deals in a lifetime, and they don't really care. They're just out to make a deal. And when I think when that vernacular gets out there, people would turn off the video, believe that, and then treat your realtor or someone with, I don't want to say disrespect, but that happens as well. But someone who's not a resource of knowledge that is going to help in such a way that makes your life better. But in the end,
it erodes trust.
Does turn it around. Right.
It erodes trust. It creates a unhealthy level of skepticism, and it sort of foments mistrust. But look, why don't you let the folks decide for themselves? Why don't you play the excerpts or snippets?
All right. Let me share this. Here it is. Here's the beginning part. Let's see if I can get back to that page. And here I am, the guy that produces the show, having trouble finding that.
that makes that par for the course,
isn't it? That is just hilarious. Where did it go? There it is.
When it comes down to buying or selling a house, there's 4 parties involved. Typically, there's 4 parties involved. There's you, there's your realtor, There is them, there is their realtor, right? And you could be the buyer, they're the seller, you could be the seller, they're the buyer, but regardless, there's typically 4 parties involved, right? Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, how many different teams are there? Teams. How many teams are there? What do you mean by that, Pat? Here's what I mean by it. I mean, you and your realtor, you are one team, right? Them and their realtor is one team. But there's one other team that no one thinks about, that 90% of the time have a longer relationship together than the rest of them do. And here's who it is your realtor and their realtor. Let me explain to what I mean by this. How many times are you going to do business with your realtor? How many times is...
Now, basically, he points this out that, you know, we do business with more of the realtors. Now, I've done business twice. I'm sure you've done more deals, and your business has been much bigger than mine. But I've done deals with another agent more than once.
Sure.
And it's very cordial, whatever, you know, but your allegiance, your fiduciary is always with your customer, your client. So when he paints it like this and draws these little circles and saying they're in business for 30 years together, like you and I, Phil, although I don't think we've ever done a deal together, Phil. But we have mutual respect. We did.
We have.
Okay. Well,
we co-brokered. We co-brokered the place. We weren't on opposite sides.
That's correct. Yeah. We were working closely together. So, but we were never sitting across the table from each other. So in any case, well, he paints this picture that although they're across the table, because they might see each other across the table again, that we're going to schmooze things over and make it, you know, better. Of course, that's what a broker does. We're there to, you know, impartially bring people to the table and, you know, voice our client or customers, you know, concerns and values. But it's not that we're there to just, you know the underpinnings and release the information that we know so that we can get the deal done and make a higher commission, as he points out in the first half of this video. So I think that it's very misleading if someone doesn't watch the entire thing, because it does make a difference what he says at the end. But how did you take the beginning part of this video?
Well, so what he's doing is he's building the case that, you know, you're going to do business as a client with your realtor, what, 3-5 times? And the other agent is going to do business with their client, what, once or twice? But the two realtors in the transaction are going to be constantly running across each other and selling each other's listings over the years. Therefore, they'll kind of collude to throw their respective clients under the bus to smooth the road forward with their own future dealings together. And I think what he never mentions is agency law. He never mentions that, because this is not specific to any state or locale or market. But he also probably takes anecdotal examples of people who have misguided perceptions. One of the reasons that brokerage is necessary is because real estate is a very infrequent transaction in most people's lives. And because you don't have a lot of experience with a real estate transaction, that you may have bring some instinctual advice from other endeavors. Okay? And I've had clients say to me, you know, for example, you tell them that we want to hear back from them by tomorrow night or the deal's off. And to them, that sounds like, you know, I'm being a hard-nosed businessman. And to me, that sounds like they are riding a motorcycle blindfolded and without a helmet and really want to become a meat crayon and turn this transaction into an unnecessary crap show. Mm-hmm. So when we say, I don't think it's a good idea to issue an ultimatum, the response sometimes is, well, you're not fighting for me. You just want to smooth things over with the other agent because they're your golfing buddy. Okay. In the comments of that video, one of the people said there are attorneys that belong to the same country club. And I actually admire that about attorneys, that they can leave what happens between the lines, as it were, in the courtroom, respect each other's advocacy, and still be professionals with each other, human beings with each other outside the lines. Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell had like bitter on-court rivalries. And for many years they were friendly, and then there was a falling out that had nothing to do with what occurred on the court. Nothing to do. Wilt Chamberlain had plenty of competition with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They were friendly until they weren't, but their falling out had nothing to do with what occurred on the court. I could go on, but I think if another agent is a strong advocate, I respect that, and there's no way I would carry that to another transaction. I would remember that they returned my calls and did a good job for their client. I might want to hire them later, but I'm certainly not going to throw my clients under the bus.
Right. And that's it. But what happens is a lot of people, if they run into an inexperienced agent or someone who doesn't give them the service that they think they deserve, or they think they should have gotten, or the deal doesn't happen the way they wanted it to, so they immediately blame their realtor. When that happens, and then these type of stories come out, like, oh, realtors are just, a dime a dozen. All they do is unlock the door, drive you around, whatever.
In it for themselves.
You can't do that anymore. Right. And they'll just do anything to make the deal because that's all they're worth. And this conversation has perpetuated for the last 30 years that I've been in the business. And I'm sure you've experienced that, it doesn't make sense, because the only way that I get referrals and get more business is to do the best job possible for my customers and clients. And that's what he turns into here. And I'll share the last little clip of it, but he says how to get your realtor to work for you. And this is funny, but in a way true, but people don't look at it like that when they're doing one or two transactions in their lifetime, whether, because me, I live within 12 miles of where I was born. I'm going to stay here, and some people move, around me, and then other people move away, so they're not going to use me. I might refer them to somebody in North Carolina or something else, wherever they go, but it might change, who they're working with the next time they buy a house. I do have one great customer who's bought 7 places from me over the years, and we're great friends, and he trusts me and I trust him, and everything is great. So, but
100%.
this is exactly what he gets to at the end of his 7-minute video. So take a look here.
Or the seller, the realtor's fully on my side. You're asking the right question now. Here's what it is. Either find a realtor that you're going to do repetitive business together for many, many years to come, or become the following. I tell all the people I do business with, here's what I tell them. I say, listen, I'm probably going to be your greatest referral source of your career. What do you mean? I'm probably going to send you more referrals than anyone's ever sent you in your entire life. So guess what? You better take care of me, because if you don't, those referrals are going somewhere else. And I'm telling it as a joke, but I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. So if you're watching and saying, how can I get to that point? Influence, be somebody that gives referrals out to people. If you say you're going to give referrals out to people, do it. If your realtor's so good, tell the world about it. If your realtor's done such an outstanding job for you, protect them. Tell the world, give the referral, call your family, call your friends, work for them, because when it comes down to it, they will 100% be on your side, because they know you are the relationship they don't want to lose, not the other relationship. Their concern becomes you, not the relationship with their realtor. You, because you give them referrals, and you don't do one deals. You do 2, 3, because you're a be-back customer, and be-back customers are very, very hard to find. So have
it. He does spin it around, but we also know that YouTube videos that people watch, drop off after his first message is, oh, realtors are just out to make a deal and, go. So if they don't watch the full video, they're going to get that ingrained in their head, which I think is a fairly typical reputation of what people think realtors do. And
it's not terrible advice, but I do take issue with the underpinnings of it. What he's essentially saying is appeal to your real estate agent's wallet. and dangle a bigger carrot than the one that the other agent might dangle. And okay, refer your agent business. I think everybody should do that. Promise your agent referrals. Sure, that's a smart move in any instance. I always like to talk about, future referrals with clients. What I tell clients in the beginning, and it has come to pass, is that I want them to think of me 10, 15, 20 years from now when they want to move again, and 10, 15, 20 days from now when they hear a friend say that they need a real estate professional. And that is how I operate. Where our friend kind of goes south, his presupposition, is that we're only going to get a deal or two from the client, and therefore we're more beholden to the other agent. A smart agent will want to get more referrals from the client to begin with. And I think this is probably worth bringing up. Even if all we did was one transaction, and I never do it, and they live there till they die, the other agent will never refer me business. My client will. The other agent will never give me a good review on Zillow. My client will. The other agent will never give me a good review on Google local services. My client will. The other agent will never go onto a Facebook moms group and say, call Tim Judge. He took great care of me, but your client will.
Yeah.
The other agent won't go to the Chamber of Commerce for you and spread your name around positively. So I think that he is being a little bit more cynical. I don't dispute his advice. And frankly, if you need to scare someone to have them wake up and realize that, realtors work off of referrals and you should remind your realtor that, all right, fine.
Right.
But where I take issue is the lack of trust. Ultimately, we need to trust each other.
Yeah.
That would be my thing. I had a wonderful experience last week. The third closing that the company ever had was in March 2006. And it was actually the first closing of 2006. We had two closings in late 2005, and it was our first closing of 2006. Had a little about 90-day gap. And they called me 15 years later, to talk about the current value of the house. And we're all a little older, a little grayer. We had coffee. We had a muffin. We caught up. We remembered the home inspector from February of 2006 who thought that the cedar siding was asbestos because it was 2 degrees out. She put her fingernail into it. She thought it was asbestos, and that caused a problem. I never used that inspector again. But it was like 15 days later. It wasn't 15 years later, because they remembered that I took good care of them. And over the years, when they needed an electrician, I referred them. When they needed a trust and estates attorney, I referred them. When they needed a painter, I gave them my friend Will Korth in Pleasantville. Right? And this was, years ago, over the years, right? So I remember that the agent on the other side of that transaction was named Suzanne Stevens. And I'm sure if I ran into Suzanne, it'd be nice to catch up. But I'd never throw them under the bus for Suzanne. And you know what? I don't think Suzanne would have thrown her client under the bus for me as nice as I am. Right? But if he strikes me as being a kind of a cynical guy to begin with. So he's appealing to the people out there who might have a little bit of mistrust.
I think playing right into the fact that that's the narrative that, you know, realtors are just hucksters in a plaid jacket, ready to make a deal at any turn, and gonna see
Pinky ring.
the guy across the table sooner than yourself. But you know, once you live there and you live in your realtor's town or whatever nearby, you're gonna see them again. Obviously, a good realtor is gonna keep in contact with you and keep in touch with your investment, with you as a person, as a, you know, because you trust each other. And it doesn't take them saying, because, you know, when somebody starts off saying, well, trust me, you know, that's the sign when, oh, so you were lying all along. You love that one. But, you know, when you started saying, trust me, I'm going to be your biggest referral source, when I'm going to be the best friend you ever had. When you start out like that, you're not starting off in a genuine position. And you are. You got to start off, you know, trusting your realtor. Obviously, you're going to vet them and do that. I mean, if they're referred to you by a friend, obviously, if you trust that friend, you're going to start off with a good base layer of trust. But, you know, that's the work you have to do to find somebody that's going to bring value to the table that, you know, you'd be happy to refer. But
you know,
his video is a little cut and dry and a little off as far as I was concerned. But
well, he's got 3 million subscribers.
Yeah. Well,
you know, his videos get tens of thousands of views. This is not a lonely voice out in the wilderness. So he's got a following. There was something I wanted to say that you made a point. What do you think when a new client or a prospective client first says, I'm going to be your best referral source?
Yeah.
Right. You're like that, right?
Yeah.
Sure you are. Right. So the advice he's giving unwittingly is going to get the realtor's armor up.
Right.
I don't think he realizes that. The best referral sources I have, they just send me referrals.
Right.
They never made any promises. They never swore any oaths. They never, you know, told me that they were going to get me referrals. Just over the years, I would get phone calls and they would say, hey, Joe Blow said you were a great agent when they bought or sold their house. And people have said to me, I'm going to refer you a lot of business. Stick with me. You know, I'm going to be your best referral source. I've never had a happy story to tell about those people. It just sounds too conny. It sounds too con man. Like,
right. Well, when you're using that to sell off the first, you know, at the end of the closing, when they say, oh, I'll write a review and I'm going to send everybody to you. I mean, that usually happens.
That's nice. But I'm saying the beginning.
It's different. Right. But when they say it off the beginning.
When they try and dangle that carrot.
Right.
By the way, in the beginning, when they try and dangle the carrot, it's not so that I'll do a good job. It's probably so I will do something to kick them back money or discount my services.
There's that.
That's usually what happens after that.
Right.
Like best referral source, comma. So you'll be able to cut X% off my fee when I sell this time, because I'm going to sell a lot of houses with you.
Right, because my brother's looking for a house next month, and I'm going to set him up with you. So give me, you know, turn your 3% into 1. Just using
and then you're going to have to sell 3 houses just to get 1 or something, right?
Yeah.
Just to get, you know, what you would have earned on the. So, you know, thank you for telling me I'm going to work for minimum wage for a long time with you. Appreciate that. I don't think they realize that. I think the best, most qualified people to comment and give advice in this industry, this is going to come as a shock, are the people who actually work in the industry.
Yeah.
Does he make good points? He makes good points. It is really good food for thought, and it made the time fly by here, as a matter of fact. Did it fly by because I just monopolized all the yapping, or was I a good listener?
There was a little bit of that, but you know, we had him interjecting. We did get to play his clips. But no, I mean, it's a very easy topic to talk about because people throw it around like, oh, would you kick back some commission if I, gave you another referral, or if I, if you get me this $800,000 house for 725, I'm going to send you more business, or, I could afford this if you kicked in some of your commission. It's always easy to get us to, throw the money that we have waving around. It's easy.
When the commission becomes the slush fund,
right,
for greasing, wetting everybody's beak at the expense of my, living, that makes it, I don't know, a little tricky, but great food for thought. And I'm going to watch more videos from that guy.
Yeah, no, he does a lot of the name of his channel is Valuetainment. So it is entertaining and often valuable and good food for thought. But I think that, it's not as cut and dry in his 6-minute video as it really is.
Never is.
Exactly right.
It never is.
Well, Phil, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Time coming out from behind the curtain, and we'll do it again, I'm sure.
We did okay even without her grace.
Good. Next time we'll get Jennifer's opinion and see what she says.
Yes.
And I'm sure she'll weigh in on the comments when she gets a chance.
I'm sure she will.
Very good. See you soon.
Thanks, Tim.